Hey everyone, David MacDonald here from Fitness Calgary. Today we're going to go over 5 of the most common workout myths that we hear, and we're going to actually go over what the truth is behind these myths, and we're going to bust some of these myths. So the first one we're going to talk about today is the whole myth of muscle confusion. So basically what muscle confusion is, it's the principle or it's the idea that you need to change your workout up as much as you can and need to have as much variety as you can to see better results. So this myth was really made popular when P90X came out. If you guys have not seen P90X advertised on television, it's a home workout program, and one of the big benefits that they advertised on their infomercials was this concept of muscle confusion. Changing the workout up as much as you can to see the quickest and the best results. It's actually a huge myth, and we're actually going to go into why. So one of the big things when you're working out and when you're starting to exercise is you're going to be learning new exercises. So you're going to be incorporating, hopefully, weight training and weight-bearing exercise. And the big thing to get the most out of those exercises is you have to have proper form. You have to learn proper technique. And the only way you gain proper technique and proper form is through practice, okay, through repetition, through consistency. So if you're learning how to do a push-up and you learn how to do a push-up for say 2 to 3 weeks, and then you completely switch into another chest exercise and you learn another chest exercise or another upper body exercise, and you don't keep doing push-ups, you don't keep that repetition and that consistency up over here, you're gonna lose the adaptation and you're gonna lose the gains that you had from your push-ups. So if you go back to doing push-ups, say 6 weeks later, you're gonna be starting back from square one. So that's where that consistency element is so important. Okay? It's important for not only acquiring proper technique and form, but it's important for seeing improvements. So for gaining strength, gaining better muscle memory, gaining more body awareness with that particular movement. So changing your workout frequently can actually backfire on you because your body does not know what to adapt to. So if you're adding in several different exercises and several new exercises every single week without having some kind of repetition, then your body will not adapt to any particular exercise because there's not enough repetition. It doesn't know what to adapt to, so it doesn't adapt. So that's why this whole concept of muscle confusion is very misleading. What you need to have a great workout and what you need to see progress and the results that you want is you have to have some form of repetition and consistency. Okay, that's not to say that you can't have different exercises and variety in your workout to hit different muscle groups and to hit different areas of a particular muscle, and even just to change it up once in a while because you're bored. But you still have to have consistency week to week and month to month, or else you're not going to see the progress and the gains that you want. To give you guys an example, if I wanted to learn a language, so let's say I wanted to learn Japanese, am I going to see more progress learning Japanese if I do study Japanese 4 times a week for the next 4 to 8 weeks? Or am I going to learn Japanese better than if I did Japanese one day, then I learned German, then I learned French, then I learned Portuguese, and I repeated that for the next 4 to 8 weeks? Sure, I would have lots of variety, okay? It would probably be a lot of fun, but I'm not going to learn Japanese as well compared to if I actually studied and learned Japanese 4 times a week for the next 4 to 8 weeks. So to give you a little bit of an analogy, exercise and form and seeing the progress that you want through your workouts is the exact same thing. So it's a very slippery slope and a fine line. Yes, you want to have variety in your program, but you want to have variety for the right reasons, not variety for variety's sake. Okay, you want to have variety so you can hit different muscle groups. You want to have variety so you can hit your muscle group or a particular muscle group at different angles, okay? And it is okay to add variety once in a while, to change it up once in a while, okay, if you're getting bored, but you still gotta have the fundamentals and you still gotta have that consistency week to week and month to month. So muscle confusion, big myth and something that is very misleading, okay? The next thing we have is more ab work equals more toned abs, or if I do more ab work, I'm gonna define my abs more. You know, I want to get rid of my belly fat and my body fat. Should I do more ab work? What are some of the ab exercises that I can do? It's a huge myth. It's a comment I get almost every single, not a comment, a question I get almost every single week is, I want to lose body fat around here. What are some ab exercises I can do at home to help with that? It's a big myth, because what's actually going to help you lose fat around your stomach is not directly working the abs, but adding in good nutrition, adding in weight training, adding in interval cardio or long slow cardio, and yes, doing some ab work. What ab work is going to do is ab work is going to help strengthen the core. It's going to help you develop the muscles in that area, okay? But if you're not doing the nutrition piece, if you're not adding in that interval cardio, and you're not training intensely with weights, okay, you're still going to have that layer of belly fat over top of your abs. So all you're going to do if you do direct ab work without changing anything else is you're going to build muscle underneath that layer of fat that you have. So you have to be doing things that are not only working and strengthening the abs, but that are also burning the fat on top of the abs. So the whole concept of more ab work equals more tone or more definition in the abs is a huge myth. Okay, you have to combine it with other things to see that kind of result. Number 3 is weight training makes me bulky. I'm sorry I'm starting to laugh at this because it's insane how many times I hear this, but I digress. So weight training makes me bulky. So it's a very common concern that a lot of females have, more specifically. Men typically don't have that concern as much. Some men do, but more women are gonna have that concern of gaining muscle or gaining too much bulk from weight training. And it's actually a huge myth. Now there are caveats to this. However, if you are someone who is paying a lot of attention to your nutrition, you're paying a lot of attention to your diet, and you are lifting, heavy weights consistently, you're not eating too many calories, you are either at a calorie maintenance or you're in a calorie deficit, you are not going to gain any muscle from weight training. Now that's not to say that if you are eating more calories than you're burning, and you're combining that with heavy weights and with weight training, you will gain muscle, okay? If you are eating more calories than you're burning, you are gonna gain weight. The kind of weight that you gain is gonna be really dependent on your nutrition, and it's also gonna be dependent on the type of activity that you're doing, okay? So yes, you can get bulky from weight training. However, you need to look at the bigger picture and you have to look at context. Okay, it's not the weight training that is causing you to get bulky. That could be a part of it, that could be an element of it, but you need to look at other things. What's your diet like? Okay, more often than not, when I have a client come up to me and say, I've gained a lot of muscle, I don't want to get bulkier, I don't want to lift heavy weights, I don't want to keep increasing my weight, the first thing I ask them is, what's your nutrition like? More often than not, they're eating more calories than they're burning, and they're eating more calories than they actually think that they're eating. So they're overestimating the amount of calories they're actually consuming, okay? You cannot gain muscle and you cannot get bulky and you cannot add muscle from weight training if you are eating in a calorie deficit or if you're eating at a calorie maintenance. So you gotta look at the bigger picture with this. Weight training can make you bulky and can lead to muscle gain if you're eating more calories than what you're burning off. But it's not the weight training itself that causes you to get bulky. The other thing we gotta note, and the other thing we have to add in, is when you start any kind of workout or exercise program, and if you're someone who's a beginner or who has no experience with weight training, you are gonna gain some muscle within your first 6 to 8 weeks. That's a natural adaptation. That's a natural way of your body responding to weight training if you've never done weight training. And it's a way that everyone is going to adapt initially to the stimulus of weight training if they've never done any consistent weight training before. Okay, so that's also another caveat, is that the first 6 to 8 weeks of any weight training program, you are going to gain muscle, provided that you are a beginner, but that is not indefinite. Okay, so weight training makes me bulky, big myth. Okay, we got to look at the bigger picture, we got to look at context, rather than saying weight training itself leads to you getting bulky. Next thing is more cardio equals faster weight loss. Again, this is another myth that doesn't take into account the bigger picture. Okay, for some people, doing more cardio could result in faster weight loss, okay, but not necessarily. And what this should actually say, we'll scratch that out and we'll write down fat. Because at the end of the day, you do not want to be losing weight. You want to be losing fat. Weight loss can comprise many things. That could mean fat, that could mean muscle, that could mean water, that could mean glycogen from carbohydrates. At the end of the day, we want to make sure we're achieving faster fat loss, not necessarily faster weight loss. So adding more cardio in could lead to faster fat loss, but not necessarily. Okay, we have to look at, are we incorporating weight training? Are we paying attention to diet? Okay, are we working on your nutrition? Are we training intensely with weights? Okay, are we doing interval cardio, or are we doing steady state cardio, or are we doing long slow cardio? Okay, all of these factors need to be looked at. So more often than not, more cardio equals more excuses to eat more food. So we gotta look at the big picture here. So more cardio could lead to faster fat loss, but you have to look at the other factors that are involved with this. Okay, so it is a huge myth. Okay, more cardio will only lead to faster fat loss if you are weight training with a high intensity, you're spot on with your nutrition, okay, you're working out consistently 3 to 4, 5 days a week. Yes, adding in more cardio could help with that, especially if you're at a plateau. And the next myth is higher reps for toning, or high reps are better for toning. So what muscle tone really is muscle tone is muscle definition. How we acquire muscle definition is we maintain the muscle that we have, and we build some muscle as well, and we lose the body fat around that muscle. Okay, that's what essentially creates muscle tone. It's not necessarily how many reps or doing higher reps, it's losing body fat around the existing muscle that you have. That's what creates muscle tone. So there's two things that we need to tone the muscle. Number one, we need to lose fat. So I'm gonna write that down here. Lose fat. Number two, we need to weight train. Okay, so weight training is going to allow us to maintain the muscle that we have and hopefully build a couple extra pounds of lean muscle on top of that. Okay, losing the body fat through diet, exercise, weight training, cardio, that's going to allow us to achieve muscle tone. So it's not the high reps that are creating the muscle tone, it's weight training that's creating muscle tone, and it's losing body fat that's creating muscle tone. Okay, in terms of rep ranges, you want to stick with rep ranges that are between what I would recommend 6 to 15 reps, okay, when you're doing any kind of weight training. And the reason why is because 6 to 15 reps gives you a good cross section of rep ranges to create specific adaptations. So the lower end of the rep range, that 6 to 7 mark, you're going to be focusing primarily on building more strength and also maintaining the muscle that you have. When we start getting into more of the 10 to 15, 12 rep range, we're going to be focusing more on what's called muscle hypertrophy. So that is building and maintaining the muscle that you have, but that is also working other types of muscle fibers. So you have two types of muscle fibers. You have what are called type 1 and type 2. Okay, lower rep ranges will target the type 2 fibers, and higher rep ranges target the type 1 fibers. So you're actually creating different adaptations and you're providing different stimulus to your muscles by using different rep ranges. So that 6 to 15 mark, you can even go as low as 5, because 5 you're still focusing on building that strength and working that type 2 muscle fiber. But it's not the high rep ranges that create the toning. It's weight training within that 5 to 15 rep range mark, and it's also doing interval cardio, weight training, and focusing on your diet to lose body fat. Okay, so again, it's a myth that's taken out of context. Higher reps do not equal more toning. Okay, all higher reps do is burn calories and work on your endurance. And we also got to look at what qualifies as high reps. I consider anything over 15 reps high reps, and you're not going to stimulate your muscle fibers enough to maintain the muscle tissue that you have. So what you're better off doing is sticking with the 5 to 15 rep ranges, working on nutrition, weight training regularly, and interval or long slow cardio. So those are the 5 workout myths for today, guys. Hope you guys got a lot out of this. Hope you got some more information and knowledge that you can start applying. And I also hope that you were able to understand why these 5 myths are indeed myths and what the facts and what the truth are actually behind them. I'm David MacDonald from Vitality Fitness Calgary. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon.